What's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast with episode 36, Tommy Vecs. Before I bring in everyone's favorite, maybe, talent in the Northeast PA, I want to get some of the housekeeping done. So all of my links for myself as well as my guests are below. They will take you to merch pages, social medias. If you want to support us or my guests, please do so. Buy a t-shirt, subscribe, donate, Patreons, whatever there, go for it, have fun. What was I gonna say? And also our new sponsor. So let's shout out our new sponsor, Elevation 1470. Elevation 1470 is reinventing style and bringing tradition of nostalgia apparel to Frackville and the surrounding areas of School County. We pride ourselves on our hometown heritage and community. You can find them at elevation1470.com, and you can find the latest and traditional nostalgic styles of School County, Pennsylvania. Elevation 1470 is where the trail begins. And they also just started a brand new promotion code. So if you need or want 15% off anything you buy, use code I love ABJ. So that's ILOVE ABJ. So go check that out and go buy some merchandise. Some really cool stuff is there. Also, we have our links below for our injured wrestlers, Adina and Philly Mike. So if you want to support them, go do so. Not this weekend, but next weekend, you can come check us out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Saturday, March 18th, 2023. Doors at 3:30, bell time 4, tickets starting at $20, and they're on sale right now at hightensionwrestlinghtw.com/shop, and that's going to be on 1301 South Christopher Columbus Boulevard, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We also will be at myself, Philly Mike Swanson, and Mike Skyros, the current HTW champion, will all be in attendance at Icons earlier that morning. So if you want to come by, grab some merchandise, support them. I believe we'll be selling tickets as well there, but you can literally attend the con, walk a couple blocks. I believe it is in walking distance, and I was told there's a really good food spot on the way. You can go check out that, and then we'll be done and wrapped up in plenty of time for you to go back to 2300 Arena and enjoy a second wrestling show that day. So you can make the 18th an all-around awesome wrestling experience. So check that out over on High Tension Wrestling. It's going to be an absolute blast. But without further ado, someone who will be at High Tension Wrestling that day, like I said, everyone's favorite, Tommy Vecs.
Show the picture of me, you coward.
I don't have your graphic from that one.
Why do you not have the?
I have this picture.
Hey, attaboy.
Yeah,
that's what a real daddy looks like.
I might have another one. Hold on. Is it still in the folder? This is on the fly right here. We're doing it live.
Yeah, live.
Nope. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Well, that one's a good one, and this one's a good one. So this is you probably never look better in this photo, to be honest with you. It might be my favorite photo of you. You are just, whew, you look great. Look amazing. And then secondary photo. Love this one.
Smash.
Look at those eyes. So
That's
serious.
What a daddy looks like. So let me tell you, man, what a stud. What a stud I am. That picture still gets circulated around very, very frequently. Just randomly from friends. They're just like, hey, here's your ugly face.
Already people in the chat. So we got some people, Matthew Holland hanging out, High Tension Wrestling. Noah just said I just got back from school and football practice. There you go. So we'll try to keep it PG. Loving the Mountain Dew bottle, Matthew Holland in the background.
Hey, keep that thing on me, just in case I get thirsty. I talk a lot.
Yeah, so you are a jack of all trades, Tommy. You are a professional wrestler extraordinaire, a viral sensation, and also a podcaster. And I mean, there's not much you can't do.
Yeah, no big deal. Won championships in all sorts of sports: pro wrestling, rec league softball, fantasy football, highest rated podcast on the HTW network. The list goes on and on. I could go for days. I won't bore you though.
Yeah, it's not. I'm gonna throw a little shade here. It's not hard to be the number one podcast. So I think there's only two.
Yeah,
active.
Yeah. No, that's one higher than the second one. You know what I mean?
and the other active one is now dead and gone. Yeah. Yeah.
That was taps.
That was taps. I like that. I appreciate it. Well, we're not gonna sit here and beat a dead horse. I like the smirk. Anyway, but anyway, yes. Tommy Vecs, how did you get in to this crazy business we call professional wrestling?
Man, it was a really, really dark day for everyone. I started wrestling training.
Now, were you always a wrestling fan?
Always, yeah. Pretty much
Yeah.
my dad was always very big into it. I came up in like the golden era of, like the Attitude Era when the business was as hot as it's been. So everybody was always watching it when I was a young lad.
Who was your go-to? Like, who was your favorite?
You can't go wrong. There was always like Rock guys and Austin guys. I always liked Austin a little bit more.
See, I drew my line. I was a generation, I would say, before that. So, I mean, a little bit. I was either a Hogan guy or Macho Man guy at first when I was a young kid. And then you were either a Brett or a Shawn guy. I was a Shawn guy.
Okay.
And then I'd say the next generation, you were either an Austin or a Rock guy. And
Yeah.
I probably leaned more Rock. But now, in retrospect, looking back on it, I should have been an Austin guy.
You fucked up, pal.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to use naughty words?
You 100% can use
Okay,
naughty
cool.
words.
I should have asked before I said it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just go do you. I'm not sure what JCF means. JFC.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
I know what that is for. Anyway, yeah, so...
Oh, okay. It took me a second. But...
Yeah. So always watching, and then at what point were you like, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to actively pursue this.
I think when I was going through like elementary school days, all of my friends were very much into it. And we used to have shows in the living room, in the backyard, wherever we could. And at school, it was a talk of the town back. Let's see. I would say probably 06-ish, 05, 06. Back those were like, that was my thing back in the day. But yeah, we'd just run little shows. There were like 3 of us in my living room. And maybe one day on my show, Tommy Talks Tape, live in 2 hours on the HTW network, by the way. Maybe one day we'll start digging into those tapes and we can all cringe together.
You videotaped your living room matches?
So when we can backtrack a little bit further. So when I was an even younger lad, it was me, my brother, my cousin, and my brothers, I think. We could go back to when I was like probably before I was even in school. So like 3 to 5 years old. We could get there's probably tape out there of our little wrestling shows that my grandfather would film.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But what we had to do was we knew what time my grandmother was going to get home from work. So we had to be wrapped and taken. Everything has to be back in order before she gets home or she would be pissed.
Did not like wrestling.
She didn't like us wrestling.
Okay.
So she's pretty unhappy with. Nah, she's happy with what I'm doing.
Has she ever came home mid-match?
I can't remember. I remember quickly having to like rip the curtain down. And
was your grandfather helping you? Like, shit, I don't want to get in trouble either.
Yeah, of course. He didn't want to have to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, because he was definitely encouraging it.
Oh, 100%. So you could thank him and you could thank my father for my existence and knowing what wrestling is and enjoying to do it, I guess.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? Like, what area?
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
That's why you're so holy. That's why you have that. 2 things were born in Bethlehem: Jesus and Tommy Vecs.
I am not allowed to compare myself to Jesus. Somebody got very upset with me when I did that last time.
I don't think they were upset that you were Jesus. I think they were upset that Mary was praying in front of you.
Isn't that what Jesus is for?
Yes. You could use your context clues, people at home. Yeah. So going into a school, how did you go about pre-internet days of like, how do I find to start this business? How do I get into that? Because now I feel like people just type in wrestling schools near me and then something will pop up. But like at that point in time, was it word of mouth? Did you see independent wrestling? Because I didn't know independent wrestling existed forever. I had shows I went to growing up, but I just thought they were like makeshift put together shows that just randomly showed up at a school one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I always used to go to the indie shows. What is that?
The queen is here. I think she's struggling in that thing.
Oh, because of the praying thing.
Yeah, the praying thing. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I used to go to a lot of local shows in my area here. I'm trying to find a picture for you. This is great television. I know that.
For the audio people listening, head over to the YouTube and check out the video.
Yeah, there you go. Plug that. So I used to go to a lot of local shows like WXW that ran right here in Allentown. My father and I would go to those all the time back in the day. So I kind of always knew that it was a thing. I knew that the school was a thing. But when I officially turned 16, are you familiar with professional wrestling legend, the Love Bug?
I am not.
Ah, boo.
I am not familiar with him at all.
Okay, you can. I sent you a picture. Enough about Tommy. Let's talk more about Keikoa. No, he left me.
That's Daddy, right? That's your daddy.
Yeah, he will be in town for wrestling this weekend. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Is that you?
That is 100% me live on SmackDown, dressed as Ric Flair.
I love that.
And my father has the Fred Durst backwards hat.
I love that. That's awesome. You were literally Gavin before Gavin.
Facts.
That is crazy. How is that? How is that not put on the internet of you dressed as Ric Flair and Gavin dressed as Ric Flair?
I am just. I mean, you could break the story now. I'm just trying to save that kid from becoming me.
Yeah. you are literally in a time machine trying to save that kid from his own existence.
Yeah.
I you know what? It all makes
sense. And I'm the
now.
bad guy.
Yeah, you're not really trying to hurt the kid's feelings. You're just trying to save him from this industry.
Yeah, facts.
Wow, you're Tommy, you're a fucking genius.
Yeah, I know.
Love Bug and martial law.
Yep.
And then yeah, Love Bug, dude, Jesus H Christ. There you go. Have
So
people popping for Love Bug.
He worked with my cousin, and my cousin obviously was also a wrestling fan, as we previously stated. His gimmick name was Skyscraper because he's older than us, so he was always taller. He's still taller than me. That son of a. But yeah, they worked together, so that's how I kind of got my in with him, and eventually I started training under him and Mongoose. Do you know who Mongoose is?
I've heard of Mongoose. I don't think I've ever met Mongoose though.
An absolute stud that man is. Let me tell you, he's a stud. He's just a good old school worker, like just very good.
Yeah.
And then eventually something happened with the building there and they had to shut the school down. So then I migrated my way over to the Samoans and trained there the rest of the way.
And I know we just had some recent photos of you, Riley, Dylan, Ace Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is in that photo? I think you had, and she was telling the story of the podcast at the time. You had bleach blonde M&M hair.
All right. So what had happened with that?
Because it was like a Halloween costume where you were Hulk Hogan.
Facts. Okay, good. So she knows the whole story. That's solid.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And the reason that it stayed on so long was because my brother said, if you keep it on 2 weeks, I don't know, I'm just going to use 2 weeks. If you keep your hair blonde for 2 weeks, I'll buy you a hoagie. So I get my hair blonde.
For a hoagie?
Yeah.
You're the Theo Von of independent wrestling.
I don't, what?
You ever listen to Theo Von where he just has these insane, like, stories and like crazy things that like unbelievable, like, yeah, I kept my hair bleached blonde for 2 weeks for a hoagie.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was a primo hoagie. Those things are expensive.
Wow.
What?
So you got your hoagie.
Yeah, I did, and then I cut my hair.
You should bring it back. You should dye your hair right now, bleach blonde.
Nah, I'm scared. What if it doesn't grow back?
That is a giant fear, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you joined the Wild Samoans. What was training there like? From what I heard from people, they're very cardio heavy, and they're just gonna beat the shit out of you cardio wise to see like if you want this or not.
Yeah, it was, especially early on, it was like that because obviously if you're gonna quit on yourself, why should they take the time to teach you? That's the way I always see it. So yeah,
did you come into it doing sports before this? Like, I know you're into baseball and fantasy football.
I played baseball. I played football. I think around middle school I stopped playing football because, like, look at me, I'm just the most average. Like, what position can I play? I'm not fast.
Kicker.
No. I mean,
that's what I did. I was a kicker and punter. Yeah.
Were you any good?
I played soccer my whole life, so that was my transition.
Okay.
From soccer to,
I never played soccer. Soccer's not a real sport, but
wow.
Yeah, I went there.
Wow.
I said what I said. Yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a background, especially with football. I feel like the mentality is pretty similar, even at a young kid level. But when I got to middle school, I stopped playing that. And then when I started wrestling, I stopped playing baseball. I wasn't really good at anything anyway. So
you're saying that you were not very athletic.
See, that's a tough one. I think just in the hitting a ball or running fast or being big, that maybe in that aspect I'm not good at.
I would even say now at fat phase, I've always felt I was pretty athletic. Like you could put me in any sport and I would thrive. And I was always the smallest person there. So like size, that doesn't matter anything. I would thrive. I do very well. I could never hit a baseball. Like I just couldn't. I don't know, my hand-eye coordination or what it was. And then by the time I got old enough to try it again is when my shoulders were shot. So every time I hit it, I felt like my arms would fly off my body.
If you ever want rec league softball champion, I could show you the ropes.
I can't. I would be a decent like base runner, but I don't even like that. Like I'm just
running
not
sucks.
Baseball, softball, not my thing.
So anyway, so being athletic. I think in some ways I am, and in some ways I'm not. Like a backflip is not something you'll see me do. So if you consider that athleticism, then could I maybe?
I think what makes you shine in professional wrestling, obviously character work. Like if you were an RPG character, right? Like your stats are jacked in charisma. Like you have good character, good charisma. You know how to work a crowd. All that is jacked to as max level, probably +2 even on top of it. And you sell better than anybody.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say better than anybody.
Who do you think sells better than you?
My dad, Dolph Ziggler, the guy that I watched that made me an idiot.
Okay, that's fair. But I think on the indie scene, you take a move better than anybody on this, like anybody. Like the way you'll literally throw your legs through ropes and just like you're the most entertaining person on the card at all times.
It's the character. Mm-hmm. Like that's just the way that I see it. Like I'm the idiot who talks a lot of shit, but like you need the bad guy. You don't need the bad guy to lose. But like I think character wise, what I do, it just
but also like in ring too, you're very like you're not going to do backflips and 450s, but in between the ropes, getting the job done, you can do that as well.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And even as a bad guy, you're a good baby face too. Like you could also adjust to as a baby face. When you were the baby face janitor, I fucking dug it. Like
the janitor.
You can be a baby face as well. I think you're universal. I think you lean heavier into the heel stuff, but in between the ropes, I think you're just as good as anybody else because you don't need to do crazy. And I probably sound like an old school wrestling guy, like a Cornette, but like you don't need to do all the crazy shit, kid. If the crowd's into what you're doing, it doesn't matter. But it's true. If the crowd's invested in the match, you could do rest holds the whole time. But while you're doing a rest hold, if you're telling the crowd they can, they're the worst people ever, and they're reacting to you, that rest hold, getting the crowd reacting is cooler than them diving through the ropes and probably getting nothing because they've seen it 14 times that show.
So let me ask you this. When you think of wrestling, what's the first thing you think of? Like the first moment that you think of?
Hitting the curtain, character, right off the bat.
Not like that. Like when you think of like your favorite thing you've ever seen in wrestling.
Like moment-wise?
Your choice, pal.
Sean turning on Marty is very high on my list.
That's weird. That's not a hammerlock. That's not a backflip. That's not a 450.
But it was like it told a story. It was character driven. It was
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
it's like if you're telling a good story, it's always gonna lead. The fans are always gonna lean more heavily into that rather than doing all your.
I would say another guy on the scene who I feel is on your level when it comes to character work and telling a story in the ring, doing all the basic stuff very well. And he proved it at the last Smash show where he came in and essentially told the crowd the story and they were like, we don't care. And then he got in the ring and told it with his actions. Abs is very good at getting a crowd behind him.
He's a very interesting fellow, that Abs is.
I love him.
Yeah. What an interesting character. You know what I would love to see happen though? Abs, if you're listening, what you need to do, you need to show up one day and just be ripped. Just show up like legitimately shredded.
Just get on the gas.
Yeah. Like, no, don't do that. That's bad. For the Spotify listeners, we winked.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Just like for the next character development for him, that'd be fantastic.
Just gets Lesnared out.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, so this is gonna be a lot. We're like two kids ADHD who are too hyped up a Mountain Dew.
So bad. I could sit here and talk to you for 2 hours and
Yeah, I
not
know.
get anything done.
Nothing would have got accomplished. Eric Pinhead says he's already shredded.
Facts. I mean, allegedly.
Well, no, they're not fake, totally real abs, according to his social media as well.
Oh, okay. So they are. Yeah. Okay, so they are real.
If it's on the internet, it's real.
That is true. I saw it on his Wikipedia page.
Wow, here you go. Hey, Mr. Anthony, your shows and guests are usually so good. That is Gavin. Gavin is in the chat.
So, are you done with that statement? Do I say thank you, or are you gonna slice my throat here with your next one?
I don't know. I don't know what he means by usually so good. I don't.
Yeah, are you trying to insinuate that I'm not so good, but the other ones are? Or
I don't think he caught the beginning when we were saying that you're not actually. You're just trying to save this kid because you see so much of yourself in him. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah. So yeah, WXW. You start your training. You're there with a lot of cool names. A lot of people that are still in the business and working very hard. Take us through that time journey, like maybe some favorite moments or just coming up in those early days.
I think I hit interesting in between period of all the big jack guys going to the smaller fellas. When I first started like wrestling on the shows there, it seemed like everybody was there. It was at the tail end of everybody being all jacked and stuff. So I got the shit kicked out of me.
Probably why you got so good at selling.
Yeah. You don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I caught like the in-between of that, which is good because I think I got to learn a little bit of everything. And early on wrestling, somewhere that helped me a lot, it was John Trotsky up at the Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Like character-wise. I think bumping and the work of things was a Samoan thing, but then moving over to Trotsky and being able to put stories together was a lot of fun. And a lot of the stuff that we did, it was just like, hey, it was Thomas Brewington of the IndyCard Mafia, if you're familiar. I haven't seen him wrestle in a while, so I'm not sure if he's still at it or not. But we were just before the show talking in the locker room, and it's just like, hey, it'd be funny if you stole this. Or he said, it would be funny if I stole that. So I said, okay. So then he stole my horse, and we created a 3-month-long angle based on him stealing my stick horse.
That's one thing I will say. And I think a perfect example of that was this recent Smash show. Like if we talked a little bit about it on the last podcast with MIT of everything that went wrong in that show could have went wrong and everything that should have stopped that show from happening. It's a miracle it did. But card got moved. People's matches got changed. People got added. People got taken out. But Rosh and High Tension and Sanctuary are just so good at bringing in talent and using the 570 talent. And I think one thing that this entire talent pool can do so well is everyone's so fucking creative and they can just put things together on the fly, especially if you're like, hey guys, we need someone to go out and do gaga bullshit. That's like our bread and butter. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to like going backstage and seeing you and AJ Evers just as a joke, putting on each other's gear. And Trotsky had no idea that you were going to do a match as each other. Like, stuff like that. Like,
I found his gear bag sitting there, so I brought it to the back and put his gear on. He came back, and I said, hey, I'm not taking it off.
And he's like, all right. So he did.
Yeah, so he put on my gear. And that's how that came to be. That was just 100% just – AJ is my favorite person ever. Him and I just laugh. Like, my face hurts from – laughing with that man. It's ridiculous.
You, AJ, and Trajan, I would say if you're all three using our locker room, you're nothing's getting done. You're just everything's gonna be funny. Like that's where the cameras should be rolling because you three are just naturally funny people, and you're trying to one up each other the whole time. And then if you do it in the ring, make each other pop. Like it's so entertaining. But that's what I'm saying is everyone's just so creative on getting things done and getting things out there. And I mean, that was a perfect example, was done at that show.
Yeah. Rosh goofed up because he's like, hey, AJ and Tommy, put this together. And I think we did a pretty good job, to be honest, considering just with how, again, I tend to not get things done because of my ADD. I think we actually made something happen. So I'm happy with that.
I love how the match started and Mary was in the match and then just like decided she was no longer in and stayed outside again.
Yeah.
Well, let's rewind to that. Mary Beth and Tommy Vecs joining forces, literally, and then on the wrestling scene. Because I remember pre-Tommy, and then I now Tommy with Mary, and it's you guys just turn each other up to 11, and you're both wild. You're just amazing together. Like you are the best duo in professional wrestling. And
do you mean that like the best ever?
Yeah, it's really so. That's another thing we have very well in this area too. Is we have really good managers. Like we work with a lot of people who bring in excellent managers. Like, and when the managers link up, it's almost like we have manager face-offs that are like Hogan and Andre, or Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Like when Mary Beth faces off with Dust, or when Mary Beth faces off with Coach, or what I mean, they're just good moments because everyone's so invested in not just the people in the ring but also the managers, and you're, like I said, a polarizing character where your charisma's through the roof, and then you throw Mary Beth in the mix of that too, and she holds her own and meets you at your level, which is not easy to do. Like you guys you do a fantastic job.
I think a lot of it comes from like we live together, so like just the chemistry of that, we kind of know what each other is thinking, and I like being able to throw her into different things because she's talented enough. Like I can trust, like, yeah, no, this won't be the shits if we do this. So it's always nice. And having that mixed, okay, we'll call it a mixed tag match down at SWO. It was her and I versus a referee and Wolfman. Just the most absurd stuff ever. And in that case, it was a match, but it was a Gaga match. So we could do that kind of stuff. And the same goes with Kit Raff and Coach.
Yeah.
When we did that, it's just.
But the thing is, too, is like if you and Kit decide to, like, hey, we're not doing a fun Gaga match and we're literally going to go out there, you guys can both still put on a very memorable wrestling match and kill it, too. You know what I mean? Like one of the matches I was trying to book for a movie that doesn't exist, but you weren't able to make the movie taping because I believe you got COVID that weekend.
I think that was one of my 6 stints with having COVID.
Yes, and I pitched. I don't know if I should say who I pitched because I don't know if it ever. No, it did happen then eventually. I didn't see it yet though. You versus Miles Millennium.
Oh, it did happen. That match happened at a taco festival.
Yes, but you guys did a Gaga match where I pitched it as like it starts off as Gaga and then you guys just stop and then just had a banger. Yeah. Because I think you're both two people who got for a long time there, and I think Miles is kind of breaking out of that, like just being just known as the funny guy, and he's being taken like funny, but also he can go out and put serious matches together because both of these are amazing bumpers, both of these are great characters, both of these can throw a one-liner out there that just stick and people laugh, but also like you're very similar in what you guys can do. And I just remember that being a match like, man, I always really wanted to see that.
Yeah, I'm a big Miles guy. Yeah, and that was at a taco fest, like I said. So it was just kind of like they weren't wrestling fans. So if we would have went out there and had like a crazy match, I think my shine was like 2 arm drags and I forgot the third one or something like that. He won't ever let that go. But I think that we could definitely have that kind of match. And I think at High Tension, I do plan on kind of portraying myself a little bit differently than I do at Smash.
Yeah.
So.
And you instead of like a thumbtack spot, you took probably what, taco shells? That's what I'm gonna guess.
So we went up to a tent and we said, hey, we want to do this thing with your do you have chips that we could use? And they're like, yeah, just follow us on Instagram and here's a free bag of chips. So we spread them. There was definitely some bloodshed.
The chips cut you?
They didn't cut me because I was a face there, which I can't stand personally because I'm just.
You don't like being a face at all?
I'm just so uncomfortable. I could be more like myself as a heel, but what I need to do, and I know that I need to do this, I just need to I can be literally the same person. Just don't be a dick to the crowd.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at that. Yeah, I'm not good at that. Where were we?
What are some of your favorite matches that you have just put together, maybe in recent time or just overall? And if you really want to dive into some of Tommy's favorite matches with his favorite people, you can go check out Tommy Talks Tape on the High Tension Wrestling.
Hey, attaboy.
Yeah.
I think anything with Killian is fantastic. I'm more of a sucker for the story of everything, honestly. Just getting to the big moment is always my favorite. A random throw together match that I had was at Super Crazy 2019 maybe. It was Eric Martin, Kip Stevens, and I in a 3-way, and I don't know, I just remember it as being such a banger for some reason.
Who are some of your favorite people to work? Like if you're like, oh, they're on the card, it's like a no-brainer. You guys are gonna know exactly what you're doing.
Probably AJ Evers.
Yeah.
When I think about it, Keiko is another one, but for a different reason. Like him and I were training together for as long as we did. We just kind of like, we'll just go out there and we know what we're gonna do.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys are the perfect match for each other because he's like the absolute golden babyface, and you're just the biggest shit heel. So it's like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah. So there was a match. I'm trying to think of probably one of my favorite. I will always go to the trail mixer where you entered as the janitor. That was because it was set up perfectly the whole time. Like you got the crowd into it by cleaning the ring in between each match.
that was perfect. I forgot all about that. I'll feel bad because like, oh, I left this match or that person out that I love working, but like in my brain,
you and AJ on the fly doing a match as each other is very high on my list for you.
Yeah,
that was excellent. I watched you put on a match where you played heel with and I believe you lost the title that show at WXW to oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. This is it was like at WXW's first show back from the pandemic. Me and Alex went. Lance, you came in as I think you came in as a champ and then dropped it to Lance later on that night. And was that Sokoa that ran in at the end before he went to NXT?
Yep.
Yeah. Because he didn't have the blonde hair yet. He looked like literally one of the Usos. Yeah. I was like, holy shit!
They're all great.
Yeah.
I wish I could have like that whole title run back, obviously, even before COVID. Yeah. Just because I think my understanding of how like it should have been now would have been so much better than what it was then, if that makes any sense. If that's English.
Yeah. And then you got to work some amazing legends in the business. Let's start off just at your dream match, you versus Mr. Ulala. You petitioned for that match for a very long time.
Yeah, literally anybody who would listen to me, I asked for that match. And Alex, thank you very much, made it happen at like the second show or something like that.
I remember putting together because for some reason you were in the same building as him at Outbreak. And we did that little promo where you're like, you're my favorite wrestler. He's like, this guy's been drinking.
He's the best.
I'm gonna wipe that. Oh no, you just shaved, but it was growing back. You're like, I'm glad he shaved that stupid mustache off his face.
Mr. Ulala, man. I just always, from the beginning, I just thought he was always so great. And you can hear the full story 1 week from tonight, March.
Are you having him on the podcast?
Oh, yeah.
What?
It's in the chamber. It's coming out next week in correlation with the HTW show.
Oh, my God. I love that. So you and Mr. Ulala are going to talk on Toppy Talks tape.
Oh, yeah. And it's great because we talked a lot about his career because him and I never really sat there and I never said, so tell me your story.
Yeah.
And we finally got to do that.
That's my favorite part of all this is I know a lot of wrestlers hate telling their origin story on every single podcast, but I feel like not everybody legit cares when they ask the question of their origin stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But someone like him, dude, like no one knows. Like our generation doesn't know that shit, and he's been around so fucking long.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like we got into detail about how he would get his name out there and stuff like that. People that he's worked with. It's awesome. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Watch my fucking show.
I'm definitely tuning in. That's going to be amazing. What are some other names that you worked that people would know or have seen on TV?
So my biggest flex, I would say, is Rock and Roll Express back in 2017, which was like way too soon for me to be working.
Who'd you team with?
That. Mark Hart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mark Maverick. He was before that. Yeah, it was just way too soon, in my opinion. Like, I would have gained a lot more from it now if I were to have that match now versus then.
Yeah. And I think I mean, 2017, they were still Rock and Roll Express, but
Yep.
I think like 2022, 2021 Rock and Roll Express, like they were fucking nuts, dude. They were wrestling like they were
Yeah.
18-year-old again. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
were hitting destroyers. Like what?
Yeah, nope, that wasn't anything that they did in our match. It was all old school style.
Yeah.
Just listen to me. And
Any other people that you got to rub elbows with backstage that you would say helped you out or got to learn from?
let's see. You always ask me the tough questions. So this is just a weird one. Earl Hebner's somebody that I remember having pretty
Dude, Earl
interesting
was super
conversations
nice.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice guy.
Yeah. I just anybody that I could go up to and say, hey, I like with him specifically, I went up and asked him, like, hey, I have a manager. Like, what's your favorite spot as a ref? Like a distraction or anything like that?
It's a good question.
Yeah, he put a spot together for us, so that was good. That was at an Outbreak show.
Yeah. So what was Earl Hebner's favorite ref distraction from a manager?
I'm gonna sound like a real scumbag. I'm not
don't
quite.
remember?
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
anything like crazy. It was just one of the things like, yeah, this always works. This is
But keep
an
it
easy
simple,
one.
essentially.
Yeah. That's
We-
probably why I don't remember exactly
He
what it was.
literally just did the main event for Header and Ian Bush, and I went up to him after. I was like, "Yo, it's hot in this building. I know I'm hot. He's got to be dying." And we got a couple cases like waters from our case, and we walked up. Me and BP. We're like, "Mr. Hebner, here's some water," and he goes, "Boy, are you crazy? You gonna fuck up my buzz?" And he had a Coors Light.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, "Earl, you're the fucking best." And then he sat and talked to us for what felt like 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
he was such a nice human being, man. He's one of my favorite people I got to meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a question. Matty D over Earl Hebner. Look at that, George. Look at George's hair in that photo.
Yeah, that's a ballsy statement from a man with some ballsy hair up there.
There it is. When Gavin is old enough to wrestle, would you ever be tag team partners with him, or will there always be heat?
If he apologizes to me, maybe I could take him under my wing.
Are you gonna be Gavin's Mr. Ooh La La?
I don't know. I never thought about that. How old is he right now? He's like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I'll be like, 36. So I wouldn't consider. I don't know. Would I be Mr. Ooh La La at that point?
Now,
Am I going to be the legend?
Do you give Gavin a match like right as soon as he's training ready to go, or do you let him earn his chops a little before he gets in the ring?
I don't know. Depends. It depends on how serious of a threat he is. If I can kick the shit out of him, I'll do it right away.
You know what's insane is like what we're talking about now in 2023 in 10 to 11 years is legit like a possible reality. Like we're talking about something that will probably happen at some point in time.
Yeah.
If this kid doesn't grow out of wrestling and thinks it's stupid, you know what I mean?
I feel like if he doesn't, his dad will wrestle me. I feel like because his dad has a lot of fun with putting everything together. A lot of the stuff that him and I have done.
Very good ring announcer too. He killed that Sanctuary.
Oh, really?
He did a really good job as a ring announcer. Yeah.
Very he has underrated. A musical background, so like
he can sing. Have you ever heard his band?
No, I couldn't make it to his last show, and I can't make it to his next one. I want to crash it so badly.
Yeah, he's very, very talented. Very, very talented.
Yeah.
I'm here for the long story. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be nuts. It's gonna eventually like we're gonna look back and be like, holy! Remember when he was 7 starting this rivalry, and here we are, like 11 years later. The payoff. We're all like, yeah.
I don't know. That might be tough. There's only so many Christmases that kid can ruin of mine.
What is probably your favorite moment so far with Gavin since starting this whole thing?
I just think how in on everything him and his dad are. So that little trooper he is. He ended up at my home until probably about 10 o'clock at night filming stuff. Just what a little trooper he is, because it took a lot of time to get everything put together. So
yeah. Well, and one of the thing is too is like what I really like about you guys is you're willing to put the time in outside of the ring and outside of the promotion to put things together, because the fans they get more invested in it. More people are talking about the you and Gavin thing because you guys are meeting and you're filming things and you're doing bits. Ricky Price is doing that very well right now. MIT is doing that. Like I think those are the things I think this younger generation is seeing people like you do that. and inspired to push themselves further. Because it's one thing just to cut a promo, just be like, "Oh, on this Saturday, I'm going to beat you up." You know what I mean?
That shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's no reason, like, you can't, there's no, if I see that, it's just like, oh, cool. Just like the other 12 guys that said the same thing. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm always more of a skit kind of guy. And if I don't feel it, if I don't love the bit, then I just don't do one.
Would you say you pulled that from Sanctuary? Like Sanctuary, you landed that from Sanctuary?
I would say probably, like, subconsciously. I can't think of a moment that's like, we need to start doing this because of the Sanctuary.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying
I think
that
it definitely planted the seeds.
Yeah,
if I had to guess, that would probably be it.
Because Killian's, I feel the same way. Where Killian's more of the skit than just the promo. I'm going to beat you up, and he also, dipped his toes in that place for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, another rivalry that we can talk about now that it's all said and done, I think was a talk for the entire summer, was the Dust Mary wedding.
Yeah,
that was a giant thing that you guys orchestrated for a while.
Well, it might not be over yet.
Oh,
maybe, I don't know.
I love it. Anytime you get Mary or Dust in a, and I can see you and Killian wrestle, I will take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, if you surround yourself with the creative people and throw out an idea, let them go to town. That's all that was.
There's a photo of you, Killian, and who is it, Dust? And you all just have like sock puppets on.
Tommy Talks Tape in roughly like 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be covering that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you just need that photo and be like, what the hell are they doing? Like, could you imagine just neighbors looking out the window like, what are these 3 grown men playing with sock puppets?
Reminded me. One of the neighbors came out because that was near where Killian lives.
Yeah.
One of the neighbors came out and, is everything okay out here? So yeah, that was awesome. that wasn't awkward at all. But yeah, that whole bit was so good.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. He got a lot of heat for that, but that's a story that you could talk with him about.
We'll hear about it on Tommy Talks Tape.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of will.
Yeah. What's been your favorite episode of Tommy Talks Tape so far? Like sitting down and going over a match.
Well, I think Mr. Ooh La La, not for the funny aspect of it, because I'm more of a haha, that made me laugh, that was good kind of guy. But just to be able to finally hear all of his whole story was a lot of fun. It was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now that bucket list has been checked off, who's the next person you said, man, I would really love to work them or do something with?
I'm just waiting to get on Botchamania, and then I can finally give this shit up.
Dude, you should have been in that ladder match at Outbreak.
We were talking about that before the show because we were in there training before, and I had no idea that happened, but they were telling me about it.
I felt horrible for Robbie.
Yeah, he was just hanging
Robbie
there, right?
Was hanging off of it. And the belt was ready to break before the rope. Mm-hmm. And we're just screaming like, just ring the bell. Bring them a knife.
Yeah.
The rope is still hanging. Like they just haven't tucked.
I think did they cut it? I don't know. It was up there. I don't remember exactly how it was sitting.
It's not hanging down. It just kind of tucked into a beam. But they never took it off.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the whole time Trajan's like handcuffed to the rope, just looking up like, what
the God. I love wrestling sometimes.
We're getting close to it. If anyone else has any questions in the chat, please put them in for Tommy. But another thing I want to kind of bring up, you're talking about your early days of training and starting off very young and training with someone like an Ace Austin, and you work with him forever and watch him grow and watch him develop. And now you see him touring the world, and he's in Japan, and he's, now he's the 2-time X Division champ and now a current tag team champ. Like, I personally love watching my friends succeed, but for you to be with that dude since the beginning and seeing where he's at now, does that motivate you? Does that where do you mentally, where do you stand with that?
Yeah, it's great to see him go out there and do his thing. He went out there and earned it too. It's not like it was just, they didn't come into the school and say, hey, you 5'6" guy, come with me, you're signed. He went out there and he earned it. He moved to where he had to go to get in there. So it's super awesome to see.
Yeah. It just, I think right now he's probably our guy that we're he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Shake our fist and we're super happy for him. But I think that's kind of cool to see. I haven't had that moment yet where I've seen someone from the beginning rise up and get to that level. But you were with the kid since the day, almost day one,
What I'm super proud about is just how much he matured.
Yeah.
Like he's a super humble, cool dude now.
Mhm.
Not saying that he wasn't always. Just early on, I think some of the veteran guys had a problem with him just being young and saying the wrong things. I don't remember any of the specific details, but
Yeah.
nobody
But
has a problem with that anymore.
boy,
So,
are they shitheads now?
yeah.
Like, what's this kid ever gonna do? Like, yeah, everything you dreamed of.
Yeah, honestly.
Hunter Dillon says he has this trademark question. If you could write a letter to your younger self, what would it say?
It would depend on how young, but I would say probably just don't get bitter about wrestling and don't. I feel like if you feel like you deserve more than you have, then you're not going to be putting in the work anymore. And I kind of fell into that a little bit a few years back.
Mhm.
But then it's like, well, just keep working. Like,
Yeah.
keep training, keep getting better.
That was my issue. I was around bitter, sore wrestling vets who
Yeah.
thought they should have been higher when they probably weren't, and just toxic of we're the best and everyone are like you can see when people start falling into that. And I wasn't even in the business. I was just hanging out with them, and it
Yeah.
stopped being fun. And I was like, this is fucking lame. And I
Yeah.
kind of separated myself from them, and then put myself around people who weren't like that. And then just having fun and being a fan again really rejuvenated me. And like I'm kind of back in that groove where it's just like, this is just whatever happens. Let's just go in here and have a fucking blast.
Yeah,
And
it's
make
super
memories.
important to surround yourself with decent people who aren't going to just drag you down.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a thing too.
If you have now, there is a lot of people who listen to this who are still new to the business and getting in, and people who may want to be in the business. But what would be some advice you would give to a younger talent of what they can do to do's and don'ts in this business?
I would say try to surround yourself with people who will say no and not necessarily shit on your stuff, but just people who try to make your ideas better and will challenge you a little bit. Because those are the kind of people who genuinely give a shit. And
Yeah,
that's important rather than just somebody who say, yeah, that's fantastic idea. Or people who will be like, great match, 10 stars.
and then
Well,
even watch it.
tell me what I could do better, please.
Yeah,
You're not going to get any better if you don't have people who are going to challenge you.
and what are some goals for 2023? Maybe some people you want to work, or just promotions, or just in general things you want to personally work on.
I don't know. It's tough. I think this year I've made a few steps into just improving myself, like making sure I get to the gym, getting back into a ring and training on a regular basis, just stuff like that. So I'm happy that I was able to get all of that so far.
Yeah,
But just to keep working with people who are better than me. And again, people who are going to say, no, that idea sucks.
yeah.
But tell me why it sucks. Not just people are going to shit on it.
High tension said cough cough. I guess, or have they told you suck? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Oh, all the time.
Yeah. So we're talking about this off camera. You are a giant Mountain Dew fan.
Big time.
I wanna run down some stuff real quick, and I want you to, on a scale. You want to do a Meltzer scales? You want to do Meltzer? We'll do 5. And if you wanna give it a bump more than 5,
Yeah,
we
that's fine.
can. All right. So I'm gonna go through the current Mountain Dew flavors, and then we'll throw some exclusives in there. So the current Mountain Dew, 1940 to present Mountain Dew that we all drink and love. Where does that rank on your scale?
So I think I've swung around to Diet Mountain Dew. So I think the regular Mountain Dew kind of tastes a little strange. But when I first started drinking the Diet Dew, I thought it tasted a little strange.
Interesting. Now,
So I would probably put that right now as a 3, but ask me a few years ago, it would be a 5.
okay. Now you like the sugar-free, low-calorie Diet Mountain Dew.
Yes.
That was out in 1988. Crazy to think
Okay.
about that. Did not know it was that old. So we're learning stuff here. Now there is also a diet caffeine-free version of Mountain Dew.
Caffeine free zero.
I don't think I've ever had or seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but yeah, no, 0 on that one.
Yeah.
But Diet, I'll give it a 5.
Now I've had this one where it's Mountain Dew with real sugar. Like that's becoming a thing again, because I guess they don't actually use real sugar in the sodas. It's kind of like the
High fructose corn syrup is what they use a lot.
Yes. So the actual real I had the real sugar Mountain Dew, and I had the real sugar Pepsi, and I do think there is a difference.
I've never had a real sugar Mountain Dew, but I will say there is a difference with the real sugar Pepsi.
I
I'm a
think they're in
Pepsi guy.
bottles too. Yeah,
Like if I'm gonna go have a gross, disgusting meal, that's what I'm gonna go with. I'll go with like
Pepsi.
a Pepsi. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here's usually everyone's top one. Started off as a exclusive to Taco Bell, and now it is out for the world to enjoy. Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
6.5 stars.
Wow, it breaks the scale.
Yeah, I legitimately went to Taco Bell about 2 weeks ago because I was jonesing for a Baja Blast.
You don't
Just
even
like,
have
yeah,
to
I guess
go
I'll
to-
have some tacos.
Yeah, you like. I mean that you don't even have to do that anymore. Baja Blast, you can just go buy at a store.
I haven't seen it in any store that I go to.
Okay, interesting. All right, my personal favorite, Code Red Mountain Dew.
I'll give it like
That
a
is
4.
the cherry variant.
I'll give it like a 4.
You know when this first came out?
2003.
One. You know what it was
Ah,
attached to when it first came out?
no.
The And One mixtapes.
Oh, I would have never gotten that.
I
ever.
used to watch those and listen to the music and it's a whole thing. Mountain Dew Live Wire. I don't think I've ever had that, to be honest with you.
Let me take a look at. I have the page up as well. Live
There's
Wire.
no photo of it, so
That's yeah. Introduced in 03, limited edition summer. I'll give it 2.5. Never.
2.5?
I don't know. Yeah, I've never had it before.
Not memorable.
yeah,
There's not even a
2.5.
photo of it, so who cares? Mountain Dew Voltage. That's the blue raspberry.
I'm a fan of that. That's a good one.
I don't think I've ever had it either.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
Donnie says it's the other one is orange. It's like an orange Mountain Dew. Now I have seen it, the orange one.
I don't
Live
remember
Wire.
it. Still 2.5 because Mountain
Orange
Dew's-
flavoring is not my thing, so I don't care. Mountain Dew Major Melon. That's the watermelon Mountain Dew. I've had that. That's pretty good.
It's like fine. It's nothing
Fine?
to write home. I'm not gonna write home to mom and pa about it.
Like a 3. Middle of the road.
Yeah, I'll give it like a 3.
All right. Mountain Dew Spark. That's the raspberry lemonade.
Is there a picture of it?
It was exclusively at Speedway gas stations for a limited time, and now has been released widely.
I did have that.
It has clouds and shit all over it.
I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5, like the one that I don't remember if I ever had, because it's like,
And then there's a Mountain Dew Goji Citrus Strawberry. It's released in 2017 and exclusively at convenience stores and college campuses.
Do you think I went to college?
I didn't go to college, so I never.
So I don't have a right to rate this one because I didn't go to college.
Now this is crazy. I didn't know there was so many. Now this is gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna start looking at these stores for the exclusive Walmart because I didn't know this was a real thing. So I knew about one exclusive. So here you go: Mountain Dew Berry Monsoon, Sam's Club exclusive. Berry lime variant. Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning. I've had this one because I'm a peach guy. That is the Kentucky Fried Chicken exclusive. This is insane. I didn't know this was all real things. Mountain Dew Maui Burst. It's exclusive to Dollar General.
Dollar General?
Yeah. Dollar General exclusive. Mountain Dew Frostbite is a Walmart exclusive. Mountain Dew Atomic Blue, which sounds awful. That's a lemonade one. Sheets.
Oh, of course. The terrible one comes from Sheets.
Sheets is
Makes
your favorite,
a lot of sense. You shut the hell up right now.
Tommy loves Sheets. Mountain Dew Southern Shock Bojangles.
Never been to Bojangles.
Dugaria is a Red Lobster. It is the first alcoholic Mountain Dew product. It's a margarita made with Mountain Dew.
Interesting.
Now they have those sodas. Mary was supposed to get me them, but we just couldn't cross paths for me to get them off her. Did you try those? Were they good?
I did not. I do not partake in alcoholic beverages.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at you. That's why you're fucking just shredded.
Yeah, I'm shredded.
It's because you drink all those Mountain Dews. Where do we leave off here? Mountain Dew Vibe, Witch. I don't even know what a witch is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and pop open this Wikipedia page. Yeah,
Mountain Dew Thrashed Apple, Kroger's. Mountain Dew Uproar, Food Lion. See what they did there? Uproar, Lion. Gotcha. Mountain Dew Darkberry Blast, Applebee's and Cosmic Wings. Mountain Dew Legend, Buffalo Wild Wings. Mountain Dew Purple Thunder, Circle K. And Mountain Dew Overdrive, Casey's. Did not know all of those existed.
I did not. Can I tell you an Applebee's story though? Because it's
Yes,
just the
please.
right thing to do. So one day,
Pitch Black exclusive to WWE, Bray Wyatt.
yes,
Not exclusive, but they did a match in Minnesota, yeah.
4. I'll give it a 4-star.
I haven't had that one yet.
I enjoyed it. So my Applebee's story.
Yes.
We're at good old Triple WA in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. It was a day show, so we went to the local restaurant, which just so happened to be an Applebee's. So the waiter and I were getting a little friendly. All the while, Mary's sitting right here.
Love that.
Yeah, we're getting like real friendly with it. So, like thanks, babe, that kind of stuff. It was getting pretty flirtatious. He was flirting with me. I was flirting with him. So our meal is complete. And this man brings over a dessert that I did not order.
Only for you.
It was ice cream with a heart with chocolate syrup on it. The most absolute. We took a picture together. It was epic. It was the most epic experience I've ever had. So at Applebee's, if my boyfriend still works there, tell him I love him.
Yes. I also have an Applebee's story.
Oh, let's go.
So we went to the Sanctuary.
Oh boy.
This is how they all started.
Oh, I think I know this one.
And I partaked in some RSO, which I wasn't sure what it was and how strong it was. And essentially it's like a gel version of marijuana that you put in food, and you're supposed to like mix it with something else and not just take it straight. And I was told, hey, if your back is bothering you, this will help. So I took, and it was one of those things where they scored it on my thumb, and like, oop, I gave you a little bit too much, but you're a big guy, you'll be fine. I'm new to the weed game. I literally just started, right? So I eat this big glob, and I'm good. I'm fine. I'm chilling. Nothing. Show's over, and they're like, "Yo, we're going to Applebee's." I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna drive over with you guys. So we get to Applebee's, and I'm sitting there and I'm eating, and the waitress comes over, and I just turn my head to like say hi, and as soon as I turn my head, Tommy, the world collapsed on me. Like I immediately got destroyed, and I panicked and had a giant panic attack. All the while I'm doing this, I'm freaking out, and I'm having the worst anxiety. And they're laughing at me because I probably look like a crackhead. I'm probably making stupid faces. And the only thing in my head I can think, because I can't, like, every noise in the restaurant was coming in at me, so I couldn't make out where noises were coming from. I felt like an ultrasonic superhero. And the whole time I keep looking up at Maestro and Alex, and I think they're laughing at me. And I'm like, what's so fucking funny? I'm not high. I'm not high, guys. And they're like, we didn't even say anything. And I had a complete meltdown. In Applebee's, and
God bless Applebee's.
I was trying so hard to keep it cool and play it off like I wasn't destroyed, and I was wrecked, absolutely wrecked. Yeah, so that was my first and only RSO experience, and it happened in an Applebee's. So
Applebee's is the place.
Yeah, so I didn't get a hookup, but I thought I was going to die in an Applebee's. Don't do drugs, kids.
Every now and then I'll message my my baby cakes on whatchamacallit, on Instagram.
Oh, you became IG friends.
He never messaged me back.
Really? So you just randomly send him a message and he ignores you?
Let me see if I can find one. Because I remember what it is, but I want to read it.
But if I clip the story and then send it to you, you're going to send him the clip story?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll do that.
All right.
I'll make sure that's on my list.
At Applebee's, service is not the same without you on March 26th. I think that was probably obviously last year.
Yeah.
And then on Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day, babe. Scene.
No rad, nothing back. Yeah. Yep. Scene, nothing back.
Yeah. And happy 1 year, babe. As a story.
Wow. Jesus. And he ghosted you.
Swerved.
And he's the one who got you dessert.
Yeah. He brought dessert for me. I guess I wasn't very good at eating the cake, if you know what I mean.
Wow. Yeah. Now, we talked about your famous people you've worked and the most legendary people you've worked. And I think you've hit a pinnacle in your life at this last Smash show when you got to work Grim from Grimm's Toy Show, GTS. And he kind of ran in on you. And then after the match was over, you were taking your frustration out on a donkey tail. I would explain to you guys this match, but it would take too long. Just wait for the video to come out on Smash Master on YouTube. But you're taking your frustrations out on this donkey tail, and then Grim just grabbed you and threw you in the ring, and just kind of beat you up a little bit.
Yeah, he picked the wrong guy to fuck with. I already had the state shut one person down, so.
There you go. Oh, so we're saying you're saying you're calling the athletic commission.
I might make a few phone. I'm not saying I'm calling anybody.
Okay.
All I'm gonna say is I've already shut one person down.
Grim's made the list. Mess with the wrong guy, Tommy Vecs.
Shrug for the Spotify listeners.
Wow. Well, so you're saying this isn't over?
As a wise man once said, Chris Hansen, that's not up to me.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
Bro, those old Chris Hansen videos are fucking legendary.
I think that Chris Hansen would be a great kicker or quarterback because that dude has ice in his veins.
Bro.
Could you imagine walking in?
I would be hysterically laughing.
Like, just to walk in
the
and
subject matter is terrible, right?
Absolutely.
Let's get that off the table immediately. These are the scummiest of the scum people who are doing the most.
It's fun to watch them get theirs.
Yeah. When he made that dude strip naked in the garage to come in, and he's like, he had a towel all prepped and everything. Oh my God, one of the greatest moments of television history.
And then when he went back to the McDonald's the day after,
they just came to get something to eat.
It was the most awesome thing ever.
Let's just look at the transcripts. It says here
I have been in
blank
television.
Or blanking blank while you blank the dog and blanking, and you just him just saying blank is funnier than the actual word.
Yeah, I have been in television for 20 plus years, and seldom have I ever been speechless. I'm sorry. It was awesome.
And the cookies are always on the table. Remember the guy that was eating them and they were stale? Like, you enjoying those cookies? Yeah, they're pretty good.
What a bunch of fucking losers.
Bro, I'll go on YouTube spirals and watch that shit for hours.
Yeah.
Not the people that are trying to do it now, like vigilante style, just the old school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legendary stuff. All right. And then one more last plug to put out. You do have a match coming up in 2 weeks at High Tension.
Oh, there you go. You finally have my graphic.
It was sent to me.
Versus goddamn time.
Jet Jagori in the number one contender to find out if you're going to be going against Edith Surreal or Mike Skyros. Look how serious you look in that photo.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that I wrestled her, it was a 6-man tag match, a 6-person tag match, and AJ Evers and I were on the same team.
With the spoiler.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you figure we may have lost the match, but, spoiler and AJ Evers, maybe I wasn't in the right mindset.
Yeah. A one-on-one is where you need to be.
And now I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here because Jet and all. But I want to tell you a Mike Skyros story real quick.
Let's do that. I love this.
Him and I once had the Wawa versus Sheets debate while shitting next to each other. Not sitting, yes, shitting.
Battleship
stalls next to each other. And we had this debate. So all I'm going to say is we got a little bit of heat because of that conversation that happened 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Well, I will have him on the podcast in a couple episodes, so I will ask him if he recalls his Battleship moment.
He does. And if he says that he doesn't, he's lying. But anyway.
He's a liar, yeah.
But anyway.
That podcast might lead into you two going at it at some point in time in the future. So that might be a good lead-in.
But first, Benny and the Jets, right? Is that his name?
Jet Jagori, yes.
Oh, Benny and Jet Jagori. Okay.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to start singing.
What have you scouted about him? What are you excited about this match? What are you expecting here?
He's a goddamn dirtball, just like I am. So
you guys are going to be very, very wild, you guys are two people you can't really predict for because you guys don't prep or predict yourselves. So how do you prepare for someone like each other?
Wild card, bitches.
Now you're coming into a spring break 93 in Philly. If I'm not mistaken, and the only reason I know this is because of BP, because he is the encyclopedia of all things wrestling and Philadelphia. 93 is a good year for the city of Philadelphia, especially when it comes to a baseball team.
Almost. It was almost a good year, and then I had to go get taken, but no big deal.
Yeah. So
runner up.
What are you bringing to the table for the year 93 when it comes to Tommy Vecs? Are you dressing up fancy? Are you bringing back an old school flavor? Like what are we thinking here?
I don't give a shit. I was -3 years old. The hell do you want me to dress up as like I was there?
So you don't even give a shit.
No, I'm gonna beat up Jet Jagori, and then
you're gonna take on the winner of the main event later on that night.
I guess that's kind of like the order of operations, the PEMDAS of the situation.
Eric Pinhead says the only logical way to settle this debate is Tommy and Skyros having a match while dressed as Wawa and Sheetz employees.
So we discussed this, and I think what the best course of action is to find a Wawa and a Sheetz next to each other and find a way to have like a line, you know what I mean? Like in between them, and then we fight, and I don't know, maybe a timer, or maybe depending on which side of the street the fall happens. I don't know.
I have a non-violent way we can do this as well. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get burgers, chicken, like just get a couple items that are on each menu.
Okay.
We're gonna take the wrappers off.
Okay.
We're gonna switch them around, and you guys are gonna do blind taste tests. And
as long as it's blind, because if I can see it, I can't physically be able to see it because I'll know.
You'll know right away.
100%.
Really?
I think I might need to be like fed them.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so somebody needs to physically feed me, or else I'll feel it and know what it is.
You're that.
I know my Wawa.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say this. I grew up with mostly Sheetz around me. So all I've had was Sheetz, and I thought it was trash. Even without a competition, I thought Sheetz was trash. And then we were doing a lot more shows in like the Philly, New Jersey area. And then a Wawa was put in by Hamburg. So it's kind of like in my vicinity. I'll be honest. The food's way better at Wawa.
That's what I
see
thought.
How I swerved you?
I was about to freak out. I was about to freak the hell out.
But that is my favorite thing to do to you while you're in the ring, is I like to yell at you that you love the Mets and you're also a giant Sheetz guy.
Dude, the Mets are literally a joke. It's actually absurd just how like historically bad they've always been.
Yeah. Another good one too is at the Christmas show when you were what is it, Christmas? One of them, when you had the paper and you're pretending you're reading, and I was like, Tommy can't read, and you threw the paper at me from the ring. That was a good moment. And then at AXW, when you came up to me,
American Vecs Wrestling,
yes. When you came up to me, and I didn't yell it because I didn't want the crowd to hear, and I was like, your fly's down, and you literally just walked up and got nose to nose with me. You're like, you want to check?
Yeah.
You didn't even look down. You were just like, yeah. I forget what you said.
Well, fix it then.
That's what you said. That's exactly what you said.
That's probably what I would say in that situation.
I was like, your fly's down. And you're like, well, then fix it then.
I may have told you to fix it with your teeth, but I can't confirm.
I think that's exactly what
I can't quite confirm, but
it's amazing. Tommy, it's been a blast. I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I would say I would love to be on Tommy Talks Tapes, but I don't wrestle, so I think the chances of that
we could find some content.
Maybe a match I commentated.
Yeah, see, it's pretty loose. It's literally my show. I could make up the rules as I go.
I would say if I had to pick, though, unless you brought physically AJ on the podcast for that episode, I'd probably pick the one where you and AJ swapped gears, because that was.
I think we did it before, but that's worth another show.
Oh my god! The best part about that is you chopped Mary with that baby hand and legit left a mark.
That is awesome. There's an awesome picture of it.
Yeah, but Tommy, thank you so much. Tommy Talks Tape once a month.
Live once a month. Yeah, I forgot about that. We're gonna end up doing that about once a month, a live one where we don't. You know how we are. Remember how we discussed the way that we are?
Yeah.
It's basically that, and it ended up going like 2 hours or something like that. It was just me, Alex, and Paige talking, and there wasn't any tape that was talked. So hey, if you're free,
I would love to join that. Okay. Yeah, the live ones, count me in. Just tell me the date, and I'm there.
Zero
thank
planning.
you. Yeah, thank you so much once again. You are obviously like every time, dude. There's a show and I see you on it. I'm pumped to see you and Mary. You're two of my favorite. All kayfabe aside, Tommy's not really a huge giant piece of shit, even though I call him on commentary.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
But I
Yes,
also
am.
say how much I hate Tommy, but love Mary, and she's a queen.
Yeah.
that's my bit on commentary. But and Mary will be on the podcast. She's closing out the month. Look at that. Looking great. But my two
Smash.
favorites, honestly, my two favorite people. I seriously like coming in this business. You guys have always been very welcoming to me and making me feel like I'm part of the team, and I appreciate that. And dude, I just can't wait for more fun moments. And I'll see you in 2 weeks in Philly, brother.
Yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks on the live Tommy Talks tape, maybe.
Yeah, I would love that.
2.5, 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks.
3 weeks. But everyone, thank you so much
Maybe.
for tuning in, hanging out with myself and Tommy. Like I said, make sure you go check the links below out. Head over to High Tension Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe. Are you guys have audio too, or is it just video? Is it
Just
all
video.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to watch the match along with us, unless
Yeah,
you just want to
so-
hear us laugh and giggle and make inside jokes.
So head over to the YouTube channel. It is another banner for the podcast thing. I think it's the second banner in. Go check out Tommy Talks tapes. Very, very entertaining. And Tommy, once again, thank you, brother. I love you to death. And we'll see you guys next time on the ABJ Podcast. Here's some music by Billy Trey.